Thank you for coming to this very section, joining me on this platform for the next section of our lecture. So previously, in the previous lecture, we looked at feasibility analysis. And in the feasibility analysis, we realized that it is not enough to have a business idea and go straight to launch it in the market. You need to carry out some form of analysis, follow scientific procedure to be able to test your idea, whether it is viable enough to proceed or to go ahead to launch it for a market or an intended market, to launch it for people or intended consumers to have. It is important to carry out that analysis. So we look at 4 key components in the feasibility analysis. We look at the product service feasibility. So we said that in the product service feasibility analysis, you should be able to find out the desirability of the product or service. And you should also be able to find out whether there's a demand for your product or for your service. So if the test you carry out shows that yes, the idea is good, but there's no demand for it, for that particular product, for that particular service you intend to launch, then you have to reconsider it. Because if you don't do it that way, you'll be hurting yourself. You may find yourself throwing so much money, dollars, Ghana cedis, pound sterling, euros away. So you have to be very structural. You have to follow a certain procedure. You have to make sure that you test the ideas before you move on into the other areas that you are looking at. Then the second thing I spoke about is to be able to test the industry or the target market. Is it viable? Is it a viable area? Test the industry or target market feasibility. Check, is the industry attractive? If the industry is attractive, then you go ahead to find out, what about the target market? Where the specific areas you want to go into, you want your firm to operate. Is it also attractive? First of all, you are looking at the industry where all similar organizations or firms or ventures are participating. Where they are all participating. So the broad scope, they are all participating. How attractive it is. Then you look at the specific market. Is it attractive? If you should go there, will it be helpful? If you receive the green light and you think by following the procedures for testing that you are good to go, then you go ahead and launch, and then you carry out the third level of your analysis, which is the organizational feasibility. So the organizational feasibility, you are basically looking at the management prowess and you are looking at the resource sufficiency. And then the 4th items you will consider is the financial feasibility. So when it comes to the financial feasibility, you are looking at the startup cash needed. So the startup cash needed, every business will have to start with a fixed cost. Do you have the money there, the financial strength to start it? So whether you produce something or not, you have to spend some money. So that is a fixed cost. Do you have that money to do that? And you should be able to also provide for your variable cost, so cost of production, and how you'll be able to sustain yourself, at least for the first 6 months in the market. You look at your financial strength. Are you viable enough? Do you have the muscle to move on or to pull out? If the muscles are not there, you don't have the muscles enough to move on, then it means that you have to pull out and then reconsider the idea, or probably look at something that may not take so much from you or drain your pocket or drain your last cedis or your last dollar, your last pound sterling or your last euros from you, or any currency that you may be operating with. Right. Then the second thing when you come to the financial feasibility I spoke about is the financial performance of similar businesses. So how are similar businesses faring in the marketplace? Are they doing well? If they are doing well, you should be able to evaluate that, see that, try to read, try to find out information, conduct research to find out that. If it is viable, they are making it, they are succeeding, and they are doing well, then you may give it a head to go in to do that. And then the third thing when it comes to the financial feasibility that you are looking at is the overall financial attractiveness of the proposed venture. The overall attractiveness of your proposed venture. That is what you are looking at. So you carry out an overall assessment to find out that yes, you are in place and you can go ahead. Now you have carried out your feasibility analysis. So you want to move on, you want to launch the business, or you have gone ahead to launch the business. Having done that, you need to develop a plan that will guide you in doing very well in the marketplace. So that plan is what we refer to as the business plan. And the business plan is very important for every business. And as a business owner, you need to consider the business plan as an asset. If you don't have it in place, it is more or less like the blueprint of your business. If you don't have it in place, you may be doing things inconsistently and it may not end you well. So you need to operate your business in a consistent manner. Since it is going to take away money from you, you need to know where the money is going, and by the close of the day, you are going to get your money back plus profit or returns on your investment. So it is important to guide yourself. So don't say the idea is beautiful, so you want to launch it. You have carried out your feasibility analysis. So yes, I'm good to go. It is not enough. It may take dollars from you, cities from you that you cannot explain. You need to be able to explain every money that goes away from you and in what form those money return to you. So classically, we are looking at the business plan to try to understand some of these critical issues before we keep rejoicing at our ideas, or what we call first-hand ideas, or first to come by ideas that we have in mind or we have at the back of our memory, or we have written down somewhere. So you write a business plan for it. So in writing a business plan, now taking you through this course, I need to give you some objectives to follow when it comes to the business plan development. First of all, you should be able to explain the purpose of your business plan. You should also be able to describe who will read your business plan, who is actually going to read it. Are you the one writing it for yourself, or you are writing it for others involved? If you are writing it for others involved, who are they? Discuss the guidelines to follow when you are writing an effective business plan, and also be able to identify and describe suggested outline of a business plan. Explain how effectively to present, you need to present a business plan to a potential investors. So mind you, if you need investors to support, to come in investing their funds in your business, then you should know how to effectively present your business plan to such potential investors. Having established this, what then is the business plan? We talk about the business plan as a written narrative, as a written story, and normally it is captured between 25 and then 35 pages. And this particular written narrative seeks to describe what your venture will plans to accomplish. So what do you plan to accomplish? Now you've come out with your business idea. You have conducted your feasibility analysis. All indications show that you should go ahead. And now you are going ahead. So in writing your business plan, what do you actually plan to accomplish as a business? So talking about a business plan, it may have dual purpose, either to be used inside the firm or outside the firm. So this brings us to the idea of the audience of the business plan. Who actually reads your business plan? There are two typical audiences of the business plan. The first audience of a business plan is the firm's employee, those that you are going to employ as a new venture, as an entrepreneur. Who are those that you are going to employ? They constitute your first audience. So your employees, what would they be looking for if you should give them a business plan? What you are doing is that you want to help your employees to work in synchronized and move forward in a consistent and purposeful manner. So you do not want them to be employed, come to the workplace and do anything they feel like. They should follow a laid down structure. They should synchronize themselves into the environment, the culture of the organization, the culture that you are seeking to build, the culture that you are seeking to have at the workplace. They should be able to synchronize themselves into that and work consistently, not inconsistently. They should know what they can do, what they cannot do, at what point in time they can do that, who are they expected to do that with, and everything they do should have a purpose. And it is a business plan that will capture that position for the employee to be able to work in satisfaction of you, the venturist or the entrepreneur. The second audience of a business plan are potential investors or other external stakeholders. Normally, you have to note that when it comes to investors or external stakeholders, many of these people are very busy people. Very, very busy people. So your business plan must make the case that your firm is a good use of investors' fund. Your firm that either you have launched it or you are yet to launch is actually a good use of an investor's fund or the attention of others. You are seeking the attention of others. So your business plan should be able to do that. So having established what a business plan is, what are some of the guidelines in writing a successful business plan? The first thing to look at is the structure of the business plan. The structure of the business plan. And then when it comes to the structure of the business plan, I've provided you with some document that you can follow. So I'll be reiterating this format in as we move on in my proceeding discussion with you. So your business plan, you are seeking to make the best impression possible. So seeking to make the best impression possible, it must follow a certain conventional structure, an outline. And this outline is what I've just spoken about as having forwarded to you. And I will still go over it again in my discussion. So even though you as an entrepreneur may be seeking to demonstrate creativity, it is very important that you do not depart from the basic structure of the conventional business plan. You don't depart from it. You have to follow the conventional structure. So if you depart from it, that will be a mistake, because there's a conventional structure investors will want to see or find to show that your business is a very serious business. And you, the entrepreneur, you are a very serious person. You really intend to do business and you are willing to do the business. These issues must be clear to you. Again, it's also important to know that investors are very busy people, or external stakeholders in general, they are very busy people. And so when you present a business plan, you should be able to present the most critical information they will need. They should be able to get that. So talking about the business plan, the structure, you can also use softwares, right, to generate prototypes, business plans. But what is very important is, even though it is good to use softwares, do not go and copy or adapt any already made business plan from any business, because your business, even if your ideas are similar, you are not going to operate within the same jurisdiction, the same business setting, the same context, being a country or being a geographical location, being it in Africa or being it in Europe or being it in America. Even if it is in Africa, know that if you have a business plan that is drafted with similar business idea, probably from South Africa, you should know that South Africa is different from West Africa. Or you are in West Africa and you are adapting something from North Africa. The geographical locations differ. Therefore, the expectations and what the ideology and the psychological issues on the grounds may not be applicable to your business. So you need to be very careful that you do not go and adapt any already made business plan for yourself. But you can look on sample business plans and try to follow the format and try to tailor how to draft yours in a very exciting manner. It is very important that you do this in an ethical manner. Again, it is also important to make sure that your business plan has a certain sense of excitement. Right. So, along with the facts and figures that you are presenting, you should also be able to present in your business plan, or your business plan should be able to project a certain sense of anticipation and excitement, right, about the possibilities that surround your new business. What are the possibilities surrounding your new business? Try to capture that in your business plan. And your readers should be able to anticipate for something like that. And they should become so much excited about it. Excitement is the key thing. Because if you need an investor to invest his or her funds into your business, there should be some kind of excitement. The person should be able to glean from the business plan. Say, yeah, this is the way to go. This is where I need to go. The person should become so much interested in the business. So tell them and let them find the possibilities, the opportunities that surround your new business. And they should become excited about it. They should anticipate it. They should be willing to see something like that in their mind eye, that when they invest their money there, they are not going to lose. And it does not mean that you do not present facts and figures. You need to make sure that the facts and the figures are presented alongside for their consumption. That is what will inform their decision making. Then we'll talk about the content of the business plan. So when you talk about the content of the business plan, then we are saying that your business plan should be clear and concise. It should not employ ambiguity. Your business plan should be able to capture clearly what you are about. Don't be telling unnecessary story, because if you are telling a story which is an interesting story, even if it employs suspense, it should be clear enough. Right? And it should be concise in terms of language usage, very concise, with the information on the important aspect of the proposed venture. So, what are the important aspects of your proposed venture? What information do you want them to get? Be clear with it, and then be straightforward and be concise with every information that you are providing. The second thing you should pay attention to is that your business plan must be long enough to provide sufficient information. Yet at the same time, it should be short enough to maintain reader interest. It should be long enough to provide sufficient information, but at the same time, it should be short so that your readers will be interested in reading. Long enough does not mean that you should produce 200 pages or you should produce 100 pages. So every business plan has its own purpose. If you are a new venture trying to write a business plan to solicit for investors' interest, you will need to be very smart at it. That you have to provide all the information they will need. But at the same time, you don't need to write a lot because they don't have the time to read everything. So as a new venture, don't go about writing about 50 pages business plan. You'll be doing yourself a disservice. So for most plans, for instance, for you as a starter, you should be able to write a business plan which should be at most 35 pages. That is sufficient. If you should situate it between 25 and 35 pages, you are okay to go. Very, very important to note exactly what you are doing. This brings us to the types of business plans that are there. There are basically 3 types of business plans, as I have indicated in the documents that I have sent you. 3 types, basic types of a business plan. The first type is referred to as the summary business plan. The summary business plan are typically between 10 to 15 pages. This particular business plan works best for new ventures in their early stages of development that want to test the waters to see if investors are interested in the idea. So you are a new venture and you want to test the waters. will investors be interested in my idea? Then you develop a summary business plan for that. So you are now testing the waters and you are writing 90 pages business plan. Nobody is going to read that because you are not a proven business. You are not making any headways. You have not taken any grounds on the word go. So how come you have so much to say? So what do you have to say? What exactly is it? What are they going to be reading from you? What sense will it make to you, since you have not done any business before, and then you have not been in the market before, and you have no proven record, and then you are writing 200 pages business plan? That is not a way to go. So as a new business plan, you need to test the waters. So the best form of business plan you can write as a starter is the summary business plan. The summary business plan. These are business plans designed purposely to test the waters, to see, are investors going to be interested in my venture at all? And even if probably you have just launched it and you want to check, would they be interested in putting their money there? Then you look at it. So you test the waters. If they will not be interested, then quickly you're on the ground shaping your business to make sure that it captures investors' interest or the interest of external stakeholders. Then we have the full business plan. The full business plan is normally between 25 to 35 pages. And these full business plan work best for new ventures who are at the point where they need funding. So you have already started and you have gotten to a point where you need funding or you need financing of your business. So this will serve as a blueprint for the company's operation. That is what you do. So you have seen the difference between the summary business plan and then the full business plan. With the summary business plan, you are testing the waters to secure or to find out if investors will be interested at all. But the full business plan, you've started and you have gotten to a stage where you need people to put in their money. You need investors to actually put their money there. These become a blueprint for your business operation and you develop that to secure their interest. Then we have the operational business plan. The operational business plan, the primary audience are the internal stakeholders. When we talk about the internal stakeholders, then we are talking about the employees, right? So this becomes a tool for them to create a blueprint for the new venture with regard to operations, your venture's operations, and then you provide guidance to operational managers. So, for instance, your business now needs some operational managers, or certain guidance need to be followed in producing certain things. Then you are developing this sort of business plan. And please take note of it. It is termed the operational business plan. Operational, as the name connotes, deals with the internal processes of the business, and these need to be taken seriously. Another very important point to take note of when you are considering guidelines for writing a business plan is, one, recognizing the elements of the plan, okay, that it will change. You need to know that writing your business plan is not sacrosanct. It will not be static. It's not once for all business. It will change. It will change. So it is important to plan in a manner having at the back of your mind that new ideas may pop up, new development plans will come out. And so what you are developing is meant to guide you. So new insights invariably will emerge. And when an entrepreneur or a team of entrepreneurs immerse themselves in writing the plan, you will start getting feedback from others. So writing a business plan demands a lot of immersion from you, the entrepreneur. You need to put yourself in there. You have to work on it. So as you keep working on it and putting yourself in, or you have other partners that you are working with, or you are a group of entrepreneurs participating in the particular business, then you immerse yourself. You realize that even some of the initial things that you're thinking of doing may expand. So a business plan will always change. Have it at the back of the mind that it will always change. So if you write something that will work best about 1 year ago, and which will not be good for the next 3 years, then you will have to see that there will definitely be a change along the way. As a result of customers also changing, market trends also changing, industry trends also changing, things will change. Even people, the employee, and their requirement and the expectation changing, you will keep on changing and adapting your business plan to current situation. So we want to look at the outline of a business plan. So looking at the outline of a business plan, so we are going to discuss them as it is. So these outlines may not be needed. All the outlines may not be needed by everybody. So it depends on you, the entrepreneur, to define exactly what you want. But every component that needs to be included on the outline of a business plan has been discussed or will be discussed. That is what we are going to look at shortly. But you may not necessarily need all of them, but you have to understand them. In case you need them, you know exactly what is expected of you, what you are supposed to do, what will be required of you, so that in doing it, you will do it well for the upstage of the business, not to play with it. So decide which elements you would like to include in your business plan and which element you will need to exclude from the business plan. But there are some portions in the outline that are needed, whether you need it or not. They are needed and you need to include them. So the first on the outline of writing a successful business plan, the first thing to look at is the executive summary. The first thing to look at is what? The executive summary. And the executive summary is a short overview of the entire business plan. Short overview. Everything about the business. You give it a brief description, or you are capturing it in a very succinct few sentences. That is what we talk about the business, the executive summary. So it is just an overview of everything, and it's not a document to be produced in about 10 pages. No. So the executive summary provides a busy reader with everything that needs to be known about the new venture's descriptive nature. Everything they need to know. The executive summary captures that. So that is what they need to know, because a busy investor who is not interested in reading a bulky document, let's say even 5 pages, will need executive summary, and it is enough. So if you don't write your executive summary well, you'll be losing a lot. You'll be losing out on your potential investors. You'll be losing out on them. So an executive summary also shouldn't exceed 2 single-spaced pages. 2 single-spaced pages, as I indicated. They are very busy people, and they wouldn't need to read a lot. They are even not interested in reading a lot. They will read a lot only if what you have captured in your executive summary is good enough and it has a lot of cases it raised that they become interested in. It's so exciting and they will want to know more. Then they will like to have the entire business plan and read for themselves and take their needed decision, or make the needed decisions from there. So when you are presenting executive summary of your business plan, it should not be more than 2 pages. But the 2 pages should be double line spaced, or should be 2 single spaced pages, right? All right. So even though the executive summary appears at the beginning of the business plan, it should be written last. That is one thing that you have to put in mind, because you cannot write an effective business executive summary when you have not developed the entire document. It is the first thing it comes as the first thing before any other thing. The executive summary comes first. Yet you cannot write it first, because whatever you are going to develop must come through the pages. Then you read through to capture all of them in these two single space write-up. So I spoke about double space, so I've corrected myself. So we are talking about single space write-up. All right, so the plan itself will evolve as it is written, right? So you will continue to make some changes. So not everything is known at the outset. You cannot know everything at the outset. So you try, finish everything, then you come to the executive summary and make your presentation. So what are the key insights that we need to derive from the executive summary? The key insight the executive summary provides is that on many occasions, investors ask for a copy of a firm's executive summary. On many occasions, that is what they ask for. That is what they will ask for. And they will only ask for the entire business plan if they find the summary, the executive summary, sufficiently convincing. So if the executive summary is not sufficiently convincing, they will not be interested in the full business plan or in the entire business plan. They will request for it only if they find the executive summary much convincing. Much convincing. And the executive summary, you can now note that it is the most important section of the business plan. It's the most important section of the business plan, yet it is the one written last, and it is what is requested for by most investors. So the second thing you will look at after your executive summary is the industry analysis. As we have gone into industry analysis, all that you have to test to find out whether the industry is good enough to proceed into it, or the target market is good enough to proceed into it. That is what we've come back to. So in your business plan, you should be able to include your industry analysis. So this particular section will begin by describing the industry. So you will begin by describing your industry. The industry you are venturing into. Are you talking about agricultural? Are you talking about environmental? Are you talking about the extractive industry? If you are talking about extractive industry, you are talking about petroleum, you are talking about gold extraction, or everything that is extracted, minerals that are extracted, they are all classified under the extractive industry. Or you are talking about fashion industry. So you will describe the industry that you are going to enter in terms of its size. Is it a huge industry that is viable enough to venture into? What is the growth rate of the industry? And then the sales projection, how much you intend to make, to sell, and then the income as well. So the items you include when it comes to the industry analysis include: 1, industry size, the growth rate, and then sales projection. 2, you think about the industry structure. What is the structure of the industry? You also think about the nature of participation or participant, the nature. Those participating in the industry, what are their nature? Then you also look at the key success factors. So what are the key success factors in that particular industry? You should be able to include that under your industry analysis. Then you look at the long-term prospects. So what are the long-term prospects? So after all of these investments, what would you want to gain? What lies there for you and then the investors who will bring their money to you? So the key insight we gain, or you will gain from here, or you will need to secure from this particular section, is that before a business selects a target market, it should have a good grasp of its industry, right? So that is the key insight you need to take note of. So don't just go and select an industry without having a good grasp of the industry. Don't start a business, right? Or don't select a target market without making sure that you understand the industry very well. You need to understand the industry very well. Now, let's say, for instance, you are targeting to enter into education. The educational industry is a huge industry, right? So you want to go into the educational industry, and then your target market is to fashion your educational product for primary student or for nursery student or kindergarten student. This is your target market. But before you venture into that particular target market, you will have to, first of all, have a good knowledge of the industry in general, the education industry in general, where it is promising, which area it is promising, and which area it is vulnerable to enter. You need to understand that. And it's very important to know that. So you cannot just say, oh, I have a good service, I have a good idea, I'm going to implement it, and I'm going to be the next kingpin when it comes to educational service provision. You may take yourself as a fool at the end of the day. You will recognize at the close of the day that you have been a fool. So you don't do that. You have to understand the industry and then know what is in there before you move on. And then look at areas that it is good to venture and the areas that are vulnerable, that if you are going to it and you are not well protected, or you don't have the strong ground, or you don't have the groundings for, then you don't need to venture into. You need to understand all of that. The second insight that you will derive from this industry analysis in your business plan is that the industry that you want to participate, your company want to participate, is largely defines the playing field that a firm will participate in. So you need to understand that, which is very important. So if you don't understand it, cannot make it there. The third section to include on your business plan is what we refer to as the company description. The company description is the third section, elements that need to be included in the business plan. And when we are talking about the company description, then you are talking about you giving a general description of your company. And talking about the general description of your company, what constitutes the general description? What are the items that you should include when you are describing your company? The first thing to look at or to include in the description is the company description itself. Describe the company. What is the company about? What is it? And what are you about? Then the second thing is capture the company's history. That is why it is very important. It is very important to have been on the grounds. You understand? Be on the grounds. And then you can tell your history. How old is your business? How long has it taken you to get to where you are? What are your experiences? Cumulatively, the experiences of all the workers, your employees, plus you, the founder or the business owner or the entrepreneur. How long have you been? Cumulatively, what is your experience? You have to be able to give the history of the company, where it began, when it began, where or what you started with, what are you doing now. Number 3, you need to include on your business, in your company description, you need to include mission statement. What is your mission statement? You also have to include your products and services. What are the products and what are the services that you are giving out, or you are processing for the market, for the consumer, for the customer? So you need to tell us the product and then the services. That if it is product only, fine. If it is services, but every product also have service elements, and you need to be able to capture your product and their services, or the services that you are preparing to launch into the market, or you have launched. You need to be able to talk about it. Then you talk about the current status of the business, the current status of your company. Talk about it. The legal status and ownership. When you talk about the legal status, you are talking about the incorporation of your business. Is it legally recognized? Which body licensed the business to operate? You need to be able to talk about it. So you cannot start a business without registering the business. The business needs to have a legal status, so that when it comes to issues of of national interest or issues of law or conflict of interest, it can easily be addressed. So do not start a business that you have not registered. Do not operate a business to a level or a certain level where you have invested all of your resources, but it is not legally recognized. What is the ownership structure? Is it sole proprietorship? Is it a partnership business? Is it a company? What is the ownership structure of the business? Talk about it. And then the last, if any, then you are talking about key partners. You're talking about key partners. Do you have partners you are running the business with? When we talk about key partners, we are not necessarily talking about the people you have started the business with or you are starting the business with, because some businesses are sole proprietors. But whether it's a sole proprietorship business, you still need partners. Let's say, for instance, you are starting a daycare school, and if you come to a daycare school, you need partners like those who will supply you with raw materials, right? When it comes to clothing, the clothing your people will wear, the seamstresses and tailors that will work on those dresses, they are partners. They are not working in terms of sharing the profit with you. But even if they give you a service and you have to pay for it, those giving you the service that you are paying for, they are all partners. Teachers, they are partners. All the instructors that you need on the ground, security, they are all partners. So talk about key partnership. But most importantly, the professionals that will be engaged on the platform, will be engaged to whose services will be employed in the business. Without them, you can't have grounding. They are the key partners, that you have to look at or include when it comes to the business operation. So the key insight here is that you may think when it comes to the company description, it is not of importance, but looking at what we have discussed, it is rather extremely important area to consider. You need to demonstrate to your reader that you know how to translate an idea into a business. That is what you are doing. You are telling your readers that, hey, my business ideas are not just in my head. Like I've had so many students tell me, say, I have the idea, but I don't know what to say about it. I don't know how to go about it. So business ideas cannot sit in your brain. You need to demonstrate that you really know how to translate your business idea into your business. You translate an idea into a business, not just the business itself. Starting a business, it must come from an idea. So write it and make sure that you are able to produce the description for your company for others to look at. If they are happy with you, they will go in tandem. They will come in tandem, hold in tandem, operate with you, and then you'll be fine to go. The fourth section to include on the business plan is the market analysis. You need to be able to analyze your market. So we've realized that we have looked at the industry analysis. Now you are satisfied the industry is attractive. You have looked at the description of the company, your company, where you want to operate, the particular industry that you want to operate in. You have told us everything. Now we should be able to talk about your market. What is the market structure? Tell us. So include in the business plan a section that is, so if you are going in the order of which I am presenting, then you are going to include what? Your market analysis. So when it comes to your market analysis, that will be the fourth section. The fourth section is your market analysis. So when it comes to the market analysis, then you are going to break down the industry into segments, right? So you are breaking the industry into segments. If you come to, let's say, an extractive industry, you are going to break it into segments. We have the petroleum extraction or crude oil extraction. You have gold extraction, diamond extraction, etc. You have bauxite extraction. You have iron ore extraction. So these, you are breaking the segment down. You are breaking the industry into segments. And then you zero in on the specific segment, or that becomes your target market. So your target market is the specific segment within the industry that you are participating in. That is what appeals to your firm. That is what you are talking about as the market analysis. So your target market is the specific segment within your industry. If you come to fashion, you may have different segments in the fashion industry, including tailoring. So it's also a segment, right? So if you want to enter into dressmaking or tailoring, that becomes your target market. So in discussing your market analysis or writing on your market analysis, you need to include the market segmentation and target market selection. Include that. Then include your buyer behavior. Include competitor analysis. So what is the competition like? You need to be able to know. You need to find out who are the key competitors in that particular segment that you are trying to enter. Find out and know the nature of the competition. Are there companies that if you should get their strategies? Okay, you look at the companies and what they are producing, what you are coming out with. Are there things that they are doing that you are not doing that you would like to include? And if they should find out, how would they respond? Their response will determine if you are able to stay. And even if they should hear of you, how would they react? Or if they should hear of the sort of product you are developing, how would they react to it? What will be their approach? Are they going to engage in an aggressive marketing strategy? Or do they are people that just they are snobbish? They don't care. All right, let them also do it and let's see. So you need to understand this competitive issue, because it is the key thing that you need to be able to understand so that you can make inroad as you move on. I have sent you a link that discusses the market analysis or writing a marketing plan, writing a business marketing plan or a marketing plan for your business. So it is just one component within the list. So read that particular article that is published through the link that I have provided you, and I think you will gain a lot of insight from there. Thank you. So what are the key insights that you have to derive from the market analysis? We know that most startups do not service their entire industry. Instead, they focus on servicing a specific target market within the industry. So what you need to do is that as a company, you cannot meet the needs of the entire industry. You can't say you are in the education industry so you can meet the needs of the various levels of various service levels within the educational industry. You may have issues, you may have problems. So the best thing you can do is that you need to focus on a particular market within the industry. You need to target a particular scope within the industry. That will help you to channel your resources effectively and be able to do as the needs be and gain the grounds and then the structure to put in place to derive the needed investment, your returns on your investment. The second key insight you can gain from it is it is important to include a section in the market analysis that deal with the behavior of the consumers in the market. What is the behavior of the consumers? Are they people that easily switch? They can switch from any product. Are they consumers that easily switch from one product to the other? You should be able to include that, the behavior of the consumers. Or they are a kind of consumers that when you gain them, they are static. They move with you, they grow with you, they die with you. You should be able to include that. That is what we refer to as the behavior of your consumers. Then the more a startup knows about the consumers in its target market, the more it can tailor its products or services appropriately. So if you don't know their behavior, you will not be able to meet their needs. It is when you know their behavior that you'll be able to tailor your services or your product to service their needs adequately. So it's very, very important to include the consumer behavior in your market analysis under section 4, that is termed as the market analysis. Then we come to the next section, which needs to be included within the business plan, which is referred to as the economics of the business. What are the economics of the business? So under this section, you are trying to address the basic logic of how you are going to earn your profits. Okay, how are you going to earn profits in your business, and how many units of your business profit must be sold for the business to break even and then start earning a profit? You need to include that. That is what we are addressing. So the items that you are including under the economics of the business, that is section 5, includes 1, revenue drivers and profit margins. What are the revenue drivers and what are the profit margins? Then the fixed and variable cost. What are the fixed costs? How much will it take you to start? Whether you produce or you do not produce, how much will it cost you? What are the variable costs? So as you produce, how much will you be incurring on the day-to-day operation of the business? How much will you be incurring? You have to be able to include that. So you capture that within the business plan. And then the third thing that you look at is the operating leverage and its implication. The operating leverage and its implication. The next is the startup cost. And then the break-even chart and calculations. It needs to be included. So what will be the break-even chart and how you go about calculating? The calculation of the break-even chart needs to be included for any investor interest. Very important for you. It is important to take note of these key insights, or the key insight you will gain is that different companies they may operate within the same industry, but their profits they will make will differ. The reason will be that if two companies that are operating within the same industry should talk about their profit, one may be a high margin, low volume business, and then another may be a low margin, low volume business. So it is up to you to select which one is suitable for your business and which one describes your business most, right? And it is very important to also compute break-even analysis, which is an extremely useful exercise for your proposed business. Your break-even analysis, very important to compute it. So try computing your break-even analysis. The sixth section, or the sixth element to enter or to include in your business plan, is what we call the marketing plan. What is the marketing plan? The marketing plan focuses on how the business will market and sell its product or services. How are you going to market and sell your product, or you will sell your service? You need to include that. Are you going to sit at home, produce and sell? This is what we want to hear from you. So include that. Your investors are interested in that. How are you going to do your marketing? So include in your structure, in your business plan, your marketing plan. Your marketing plan is the sixth item on the list as I'm discussing with you. So the items that you have to include on the marketing plan, one is the marketing strategy. What will be the overall marketing strategy? Your overall marketing strategy, what is it? Please read the link that I have sent you, the article, the published article that I have sent you with a link. Try to open it, read, and then you will gain you will get more insight on this issue so that you can move forward and do very well in the marketplace. The second thing to include is the product. What is the product? The price of the product. How will you promote the product? And then the distribution strategy. So product, price, promotion, and distribution strategy. That is what we refer to as the marketing mix. So what is your marketing mix? What will be your sales process? Or what will be the sales cycle? You have to tell us. And then the tactics you will use to do your selling. It needs to be included within that. So as I have said, the key insight there is about you articulating your marketing strategy, your positioning strategy. How will you position yourself and position your product or service? And points of differentiation. How different will you make your company to be? So if you have similar business operating in an area where you are, how are you going to differentiate yourself from that business so that you will all not be taken as the same? So if you are one and the same, then there's no need coming to you. So these are the things that we are talking about. So differentiation. What will you do to differentiate your product? Very important. You need to include that. And then you talk about how these overall aspects of the plan will be supported by pricing. How are you going to price? All of these should be supported by the pricing, the promotional mix that you will use. So we have the promotional mix. So are you going to use advertisement, or you are going to use digital platforms, or you are going to use print platform, TV, and etc. So look at the media and then the online media that you are going to engage to be able to move your product forward. So these are the things that we refer to as the promotional mix. Then we'll talk about the distribution strategy. The distribution strategy. How will the consumers get the goods or the service? How will they get it? Do they need to come to the company and get it directly from you, or you will go to them? There are some services that will need to be consumed at the venue of the production. For instance, education. So education services are produced at a particular site, and the consumers will have to be within that particular site to consume that. So is that the nature of your business? Or your business is such that you will have to do self-delivery or online purchasing and delivery? How are you going to get your product to the consumer? So we are talking about the distribution strategy. These issues need to be taken seriously, because you cannot survive if you don't have a plan to push your product or to push your service to the consumer. You cannot. And it is a very key thing that an investor is interested in. Am I going to give you or put in my money, my dollars, such that you will sit down and tell me stories you produce and couldn't sell? We know there are a number of businesses that are operating in similar disadvantaged position. They take money or funding, they produce, and they are not interested in going to sell. So if you are not interested in going to sell, why did you go in for the money? Have you thought of how you will refund the money? Investors do not go about casting their bread around for you to take and eat and go away for them to lose. They are also making profit. It is their business. That is how they also make money. So they won't give you their money and then you take it and sit somewhere that you couldn't make profit. So should they give you their money? No, you have to pay back. So tell them how you are going to push the products you come out with, the service that you produce. How are you going to push it to the consumer? How will you make the money so that they can also get their dividends or get their profits back? And then the next section you will include on the business plan include the design and development plan. The design and development plan. So we are talking about design and then development plan. We are talking about if you are dealing with, let's say, completely new product or service, you need to include a section under this. So for instance, you are going to produce completely new product, or you are going to come up with completely new service. How are you going to go about it? Include that, right? Include that section under the business plan. So if you are going to develop completely new product, the investor should be able to know that, hey, this particular company or firm or entrepreneur is going into this, and it is a completely new thing. You need to talk about the design strategy and then the development strategy. So the things you have to include under this section of design and development plan include the development status and tasks. So what will be the development status? What are the tasks involved? The challenges and risks. you need to include that. The projected development cost need to be included. How much will it take you to do your production? Let's say first production and etc. So how much is it going to cost you? So at every level, if you have to produce, how much will it take or will it cost? Whether you are first timer or you are a starter or you are in already, anytime you are producing, how much will it cost you? So you have to include that. Proprietary issues. Will you be buying a patent, paying for patent, trademarks, copyright? Will you need copyright for your products? Will you need licenses? Will you need brand names? These are all proprietary issues, things that you own. They become your property. So they are proprietary, though they do not give you money directly. They actually help position your brand in a very positive manner. With them, everybody knows your position in the particular industry and then the industry segment you are operating in. So it is a very important issue to include. Make sure that your product development efforts are not stalled, right? They are not stalled. So in doing that, you would actually need to include your development strategy or the development strategy for your product and services, and then how you will turn out whatever you are going to do to turn the product out. You need to make that so that anybody who is following is prepared enough to say, hey, this is a serious person with a serious business. And then you also include in the business plan what we call the operations plan. The operations plan. The operation plan outlines how your business will be run and how your product or service will be produced. Basically, that is about the operation plan. So a useful way to illustrate how your business plan will be run is to describe it in terms of backstage. So the backstage of your business is the unseen, those aspects that are not seen by the customer. And then the front stage are the aspect that will be seen by the customer. Those are the activities involved. So what are the backstage activities? The backstage activities, the things, the aspect of the business you will not see. And that is what you have to engage in first before you bring out the aspect that the customer or the consumer will see. Include that. So in stating that, the items you include must be 1, the general approach to operation, 2, business location, and then 3, facilities and equipment. All of these are backstage. But the other aspect, you have to include all of these for the investor or investors or stakeholders or external stakeholders' interest. So if they are willing to give attention to your business, they will do it interestingly. The key insight you need to derive from here is that you have to strike a careful balance between adequacy, right? Between adequately describing this topic and providing too much detail. You need to be able to strike a careful balance between that. So what is adequately describing the operational plan, and then what will be providing too much detail. So try as much as possible not to provide too much detail, but you also have to provide, the details you provide should be adequate. All right. Which implies that whatever you are writing or you are saying about your operation plan should be short, and then it should be succinct, it should be crisp. Then you talk about, or you include in your business plan, the management team and then the company structure. What will be your management team? What will be your company structure? You need to include that. So talking about management team and then the company structure, we are talking about the founder or founders, right? And then a handful of a key management personnel. You need to include that. So who is the founder? Who are the founders? Who are the key management personnel? Say CEOs or certain key people that without them, the business doesn't have a face, it needs to be included. So for example, you have the management team. What constitutes the management team? Who are the management team? Include all of them. The board of directors, who are they? Board of advisors, who are they? And then company structure, include all of these. So you list all of that, provide names, provide details, and etc. So they are very much important, and they are the critical section of the business plan. Please note, they are the critical section of the business plan. Many investors and others who read the business plan look first at the executive summary and then go directly to the management team, right? The management team section to assess the strength of the people starting the firm. It is very important to them. So first of all, they will look at the executive summary, and then they will look at the management team and company structure. These sections are very, very important to them. So what is the credibility of those who are starting the company or who are starting the firm? Are they well grounded? That is why this is the time for you to make friends. So as students, entrepreneurial students in the university, you need to make friends. And it is time to make friends, make good friends. Very important. Make friends that have experience. That is why entrepreneurs in general have that characteristic of friendliness. They are quick to strike friendship with very great people or people with high status in society. You need to do that, because if you need board of directors, you need credible people. And the starting point for most of you now are your lecturers in the university. And so it's very important to give respect to those who are with you in the university and giving you the needed knowledge that you are acquiring within this year and apply to your after school life. Very, very important, because most lecturers have industry experience or are in industry and they are teaching, so they know the grounds. Such people, if you should have them as part of your management team or board of directors or board of advisors and etc., it gives you a certain level of credibility. Do not forget that when you are including these key people, you list their position, their education, their experiences, and then kind of achievements in society. You list all of that as part of the package, and it goes a long way to have a positive impact on your business outlook. So very important. If you don't know how to make friends, begin to do that. And some of you are taking even lecturers for granted. You are not friendly, can be friendly, cannot approach people, and you have taken a certain outlook for yourself. It's not helpful. So try as much as possible to break yourself down if you really want to journey into this world of entrepreneurship. So fraternize with people outside, people who are making it, thought leaders and etc. Get to know them, but you have to meet them outside. Go where they are, and there you will meet them. Then you also have to include the 10th section. And the 10th section has to do with the overall schedule. So what will be the overall schedule of your company? A schedule should be prepared that shows that the major events required to launch the business. So what are the major events that are required to launch the business? You have to include that. The schedule should be in the format of milestones critical to the business success. So the things you include in the schedule, the items you include. So one of it is incorporating the venture, completion of prototypes. So what is your prototype product or your prototype service? Include that. Let us know. Rental of facilities. Include that. Obtaining critical financing. Starting production. Obtaining the first sale. All of these are things that you have. They are milestones. They are things that you have gone through, some levels of experience already. You include them in your schedule. They provide a very good grounds for you, and they are placeholders for opportunities if you are seeking for opportunities. So an effectively prepared and presented schedule can be extremely helpful in convincing potential investors that the management team is aware of what needs to take place to launch the venture and has a plan in place to get there. That is what you are doing. That is the key takeaway there. And then the 11th item you include, or element you include, referred to as the financial projection. You have to provide a financial projection for the business. What will be your financial projection? Then we are talking about your pro forma or projected financial projections. So if you have not yet started a business, you present your pro forma. What is your projected financial your projected financial projections, whatever you term it. So that is your pro forma. You present that, you include that. And the items that comes under it when you are talking about the financial projection, you are talking about one, sources and uses of funds statement. So your sources of fund, your use of fund, the statement, you capture them in statement form. You have the assumption sheet, pro forma income statement, pro forma balance sheet, pro forma cash flows, ratio analysis. All of these need to be included. And these are all issues that you need to learn and read on to include in your dealings. So what are the key insights you are expected to gain from here, or the key insight provided when it comes to the financial projection? We are talking about you having financial projection coming last. Why? The reason is it is easy to see it. That is why it should come last. It should be easy to see it. And when your business plan is taken, the business plan that you have developed is taken, it should express, everything should be expressed in terms of financial, should be expressed in financial terms. So the entire business plan that we have picked will be translated in financial terms. And that is what comes last to make it easy to see it. All right. So if you want to present your business plan to investors, what do you have to do? What do you have to do? Now you have your business plan. You have tried to solicit for the attention of investors, and they want you to present your business plan to them. You need to note that, one, that will be done in an oral form. It's a presentation that will be done in an oral form. And normally, this presentation should not be more than 15 minutes. You don't need to talk for more than 15 minutes. The allotted time given you, do not speak more than that. So it also means that you will need to rehearse your presentation over and over. Okay, you need to present a smooth presentation, and it should be well rehearsed. So you do not come on the day of presentation and you are now mesmerized. You do not know what to say. So it should be a smooth, well rehearsed presentation you are giving within 15 minutes. If you have prepared a slide, the slide should be sharp and not cluttered. Right? It should be sharp, it should be visible, clear. It should not be cluttered. And it's very important to follow these. So during your presentation, you should also take note that you'll be giving feedback, and you should be prepared to receive feedback, questions and feedback from investors. So when questions come to you, you should be able to respond to them. The smart entrepreneur has a good idea of the questions that will be asked. Anticipate questions. So do not think you are just going to tell a story and go away. No, anticipate questions. And the kind of questions that you should anticipate depends on your ability to research and know exactly what you are doing. You should be able to anticipate questions that will be coming from them. And you also and then you'll be well prepared to respond to them. These are very important issues that need to be taken seriously, very much. So if you prepared your slide, or the slide that you intend to present during the meeting, your meeting with investors, what should be the structure? What we are supposed to have is what I'm going to give you. So I'm just giving you a list. You may not need all. You may need all. And you may not need all. So depending on what your needs are. But let me give you all of these. Then you pay attention to it and make sure that at least you have these things in place when you are going to do presentation. So what to have on your slide should include: one, the title slide. The problem. What is the problem? What problem are you seeking to solve or to address? 3, the solution. What is the solution? 4, opportunity and target market. 5, technology. 6, competition. 7, marketing and sales. 8, management team. 9, financial projections. 10, current status of the company, your current status. 11, financial source, that is the money you need, and then you provide a summary. So this is all that I have to share with you today, and I wish you very well. I do believe that you have learned a lot, and so as we proceed, we continue into other topical areas that you will need to give attention to and prepare yourself adequately in launching out your business idea. It is very important we take these things seriously. Take your business plan seriously, and then reposition yourself and know what you want. So we'll be continuing with the next section. So thank you.